So what's your
Okay.
question today?
Okay. First of all, Maggie, I have to say that red is your color. It is fantastic. That's first of all.
Thank you.
So
But my kid says
you're
too.
welcome. Okay, so my question to start is how do I manage my different types of intuition? So I did post my chart. I
Okay.
am a 6-3 pure generator, sacral authority. I have the gate 54-4 in Neptune. And a couple things real quick. I feel like I receive intuition in so many forms that at times it becomes overwhelming. Um, how it comes in. My energy seems to be a paradox that is simultaneously complementary with its own checks and balances built in. And I'm reading off of my notes so I can remember what I want to ask. And it's hard for me to decipher what's conditioning, what's not, what is mind games, what isn't. Because there's been some really magical things that have happened. And so it just I need a clarity. And you said harness and direct. And I wrote an apple with it because I'm like, that's some wisdom that I'm wanting to learn more about how I can harness and direct my energy. So that sums it
Gotcha.
up with some context.
Okay, great. I'm going to show your chart here. Yeah, human design shows us multiple different forms of intuition. And so, one major superpower that you have, that all generators have, is this sacral authority, right? So, the sacral authority is our interface with our inner being. It's our interface with the part of us that has a much bigger perspective and can see things that our human selves can't discern that well, especially when it comes to time. So that's a very powerful form of intuition, which is not emotional and it's also not verbal. So anytime you've got words coming in or something is more emotional, you know it's not your sacral. Your sacral is really pretty. I mean, sometimes, like I know sometimes my sacral will have a stronger response to something if it's really has a strong opinion. But it's still not quite the same as emotional. I would just call it a stronger response. Like sometimes I can get a real aversion to something like, mm, or and like a leaning in. I can get a strong kind of leaning in versus a leaning away kind of feeling. But it's still not emotional and it's not verbal. Okay.
Mm.
So you have some you've got the 43, which is lit up twice here, the 28, 38, the 39. These are your main activations in the knowing circuit. And you've got your 43 down here, double defined in Pluto. Oh, goodness. Um, and then,
What's that mean? Wait.
yeah, well, Pluto is just, the thing about the 43 is, so the 43 is known as insight in both traditional human design and quantum human design, but it's known as the genius freak gate. Okay. And
Mm.
the reason for that is that it is an energy that brings through reading leading edge different ideas. They're out of the box. They're innovative. They're just quite different. Okay. And so it's not, the genius freak is not about it's not a comment on the quality of the energies themselves or the ideas or the epiphanies or the insights that are coming through so much as they are, uh, um, uh, the way that people will respond to your ideas depending on where you share them and with whom and what situation. because the ideas that come through the knowing circuit tend to be pretty different. And so they are intuitive and they are coming from super consciousness, but they are really different. So you want to be looking at the place, the when you're going to express them, you want that really to be in a place where people are already receptive. So that's another thing I would say about that. But the other thing about you that I think probably influences your sensitivity a lot is just having all these open centers, right? You have 6 open centers. And so with each of those open centers, you're going to be receiving and amplifying the energies of the people you've been around. And that's going to be true from your earliest days and how that has influenced you, and then how it is for you now. And so usually when I look at this, I'll be like, okay, you really want to get to know your relationship to the emotional solar plexus, which is here, which is your emotional center, and your heart, the G center. Because these are the 2 places that can be super strong allies for you in terms of your sensitivity to being able to tune in to where other people are at, what's going on for them, what's happening with them emotionally, how are they feeling about their direction in life, how are they feeling about themselves in general, and so on. But you want to be careful not to be too heavily impacted by other people so that you feel like you get pulled away. So I want to make those comments. And then I just want to ask you, because you had said that I'm not remember exactly the words that you used, but it was something like feeling like you weren't sure if you could trust the guidance or not. Is that right? You felt like you didn't know. So is it true that you're not sure how to discern if guidance is accurate or not?
Right. That
Is that
is
what it
definitely
is?
an aspect. That's an aspect because I get so many things in different ways. And I'm a bit skeptical and I'm a bit doubtful because as I've been learning about energetics and how I experience life, I am like, okay, well, what's mine? What isn't mine? And I get wrapped up in this overthinking and over analyzing. But I can't help it because I feel these significant shifts and undulations. And I just simply feel very sensitive. And I'm like, okay, well, yes, I have tools and practices, but at the same time, like it makes me want to be a recluse versus being around anyone. And that doesn't seem for my highest good to be in isolation from other people.
Yeah. I'm just looking, what are you, 6'3"? Yeah. I mean, here's the thing, with that much openness in your chart, that's a big part of what makes you as sensitive. And do you have the 19? No. So that's going to make you sensitive. Do you do any kind of pretty strong energy practices on a regular basis?
So I just started back into doing my Kundalini yoga in the mornings. And at times I will do visualizations because I can see energy through my mind center. So I'll clear and cleanse. And sometimes I even go physical, but it's so new to me that I'm still building that muscle, like that mind to muscle connection where it's like, because sometimes it's my reality has been, I just am sensitive and that's what it is. But now I'm realizing there's a whole different spectrum. And I just started learning these tools. I'm 32 and last year was my massive ripped open awakening. And so I know as a 6'3" that's on the roof. And so I am very open
yet.
to hearing.
You're not quite on the roof yet. You have a few more years. Closer to 35.
Okay, well, that's good to know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay, well, that's fantastic to know because I definitely felt a very big shift, but that's a story for another day. So yeah,
How long
I'm
ago
really
was
open
that?
into learning.
How long ago did you feel that shift? Like 2 years ago?
yeah, as I was going from 29 to 30, my everything completely fell away from me. I was guided by spirit through the entire thing because I had no idea what was going on. It felt like a Kundalini awakening, everything all at once. And I was like wide open, wide open. And I've been working with spirit, the universe since then. And even human design I was guided to this system. And so I've been shown a lot of practices. However, once again, it goes into creating it as a daily habit, but I'm having difficulty like existing in life, like, and trying to be normal, quote unquote, without okay, I have to ask my sacral for all of these things. I have to continuously douse myself energetically. Wait, why can't I just, own that this is my energy and not be impacted? And I'm just having a lot of it feels like hustle, and I feel like a child and a wisdom person at the same time, and it's very confusing at times.
Yeah. Well, you're kind of at an age that's like that. Well, you're kind of at an age that's like that. Because like in your 30s, you start to realize, oh, I do know a lot and I also don't know anything. That's not uncommon. Whereas in the 20s, there can be a lot of, oh, I know, and then when you get older, you're like, oh, I don't really know. And that cycle will continue. I'll just let you know. So don't think there's anything wrong when it happens, because there isn't. The other thing is just based on the timing. I don't know if this is true or not, but it could be your Saturn return was the thing that really influenced you more around age 29 would be more your Saturn return. Going up on the roof doesn't usually happen until sometime during your mid 30s.
What are markers?
That's a period of integration. Is when you hit that phase, and there aren't any like solid like dates by when any of these things happen. I mean, there is a date when you have your second Saturn or your Saturn return, but it really influences you for a good year before and a good year after, right? And it's like what happens with your Saturn return kind of sets you up for your 30s. So that is a good thing to just pay attention to for yourself. And for you, your Saturn's in the 41 and in the 13, those gates. And so you might want to get to know those. Just look at what the gates are and go research those gates a little bit more, and to know that Saturn is really asking you to pay attention on a regular basis to the things that he's lighting up. So for you, one of them is imagination and the other one is storytelling. Is understanding your own story and being able to receive and understand the stories of others. So, but the other thing I would say, just kind of general guidelines, and this is for everybody, is your genuine guidance will never speak to you in the language of fear. The only time it will speak to you in the language of fear is when you have real and present danger. Otherwise, it's not going to speak to you in that. It might, you might get a, oh, don't do that. Like, don't go that way, or don't work with that person, or don't hire that person, or whatever. You could get the negative, but it's not going to be like, ooh, be afraid. Like, that's scary. Watch out. It's not going to do that. That's another part that is not necessarily, probably not reliable. So just realize that the inner saboteur who is trying to keep you safe by keeping you small and in a very familiar world often masquerades as logic and reason. And so you can get confused because it can present really logical reasons why you should do what it says, but you really need to take a look at that. Then the other thing you mentioned was getting doubtful or skeptical. You do have the beginning of both the logic circuit and the sensing circuit. And the thing about the beginning of the logic circuit is that it can, traditional human design calls it doubt. And traditional human design calls it curiosity. Doubt is a contracted inward kind of energy, right? It's like doubt. Or in its disempowered state, it's like, I doubt it. I don't think I should do it. Or in its shadow state, it's like foisting doubt on others. Like, I doubt you, prove it to me. That's the shadow state of that. Whereas the awakened state is, I wonder what there is to find out about this. I'm curious. So one of the best things I can say is anytime you start falling into skepticism and doubt, chances are that's heavy conditioning. And one of the best things you can do is be like, how can I get curious right now? How can I step into possibilities without trying to nail things down? Because that whole channel is like doubt and answers in traditional human design. It's like, I doubt it. I need the answer. Can you prove it to me? If you can't prove it to me, I'm not going to believe it. Doesn't matter what you say, right? That's the kind of shadow aspect of that channel, which unfortunately is rampant. It's rampant. You can hear people on social media all day long and on the media all day long talking that way, right? It's a shadow state of the beginning of the logic circuit. It's not accurate. Okay. This is the thing for us to understand. This is a conditioned way of experiencing a certain kind of energy, which you can also just as well go, I wonder what the possibilities are here. I wonder how I can be curious, which opens things out. Do you see how one closes things down and one opens things out? So those are, I hope, some just kind of criteria that you can have, some indicators that you can have when you're looking at the information that's coming in. And the last thing I'll say here is, with that much openness, I would highly recommend that you do Kundalini practices every morning, because you want to be clearing out. And I would do even some simple ones at the end of the day. If you've been with a bunch of people and you're sort of feel like, wow, I got a lot of energy moving in my system right now. I don't know if it's mine or if it's somebody else's. Do some breath of fire. Do some, bounce around a little bit, like move your body, be like, okay, I did a thing today, a Kundalini practice. We did this morning, which was really moving the magnetic field. Like, just lean into the practices and find something that works for you. And even just doing some breathing at the end of the day, just being like, on the exhale, you're just breathing everybody else's energy out. You're imagining it moving out of the field that's in your form and outside your aura, which is outside your form. And you're just clearing all of that out so you can come back into center for what's true for you. Right? Because because I have 5 open centers, I have to do practices regularly, or I just start to feel kind of gunky.
Yes, like not myself.
Gunky. At all. Like, what is all this energy, right? So that's one of the best things I can say. Yeah. Because what'll happen is that over time, when you practice, you do have the gate 5 lit up in your chart, which is really good for routine. It's really good for routine. And it's also Venus's lighting. No, that's Mercury. But so just to communicate to yourself about how beneficial it is to have a regular practice. And the thing is if you do it, every day, almost every day for a month, you will create a habit. And then the thing, what happens over time is if you don't do it, you go, oh, I don't feel so good. I'm going to go do it. Yeah. Right? Because then you get a new normal. See, this is how we get the new normal, right? And how I was talking to Alex a minute ago about, for her, and I was talking about like all these pressures, the outer, the cultural norms of success, all this pressure, right? It works with that too. It's like, you just got to clear out all this stuff that's coming at us all the time so that we can actually be like, well, what do I actually feel? Like me, what do I feel?
Yeah.
Helpful?
Yeah. That's very helpful. That's fantastic. Thank you. And real quick, I do have one last, just for clarity. I get strong visualizations, like strong. And what gate would that be in? Because that's also something that will throw me off, because I will hear guidance as words, and then I will have my sacral. I'll have a knowing, which doesn't have any kind of indicator, but then I also get visions, and I don't know what gate that comes from and how to work with that energy, because sometimes it is like a Claire where it's a predictive thing, but sometimes it's an abstract communication, and I don't know what to do with it or where it comes from
I don't know
in
that I
my
can
chart.
tell you what gate it is. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely certain gates and channels that are clairaudient that I have.
Which I
Because
have
I'm
too, yeah.
clairaudient, I'm not clairvoyant. But what I would say is really get to know your sacral, because your sacral is like your best friend. And your sacral, like if you get an image, like let's say you get something predictive, right? You can ask your sacral, is this something I should pay attention to? Is this something that's actually going to happen in the future? But I should pay attention to it. Okay, so I'll pay attention. Okay. Should I talk to other people about it? Should I write it down? Should I draw a picture? Should I just hold it close?
Okay.
So you just do that, right?
Okay.
Just learn to tap into that sacral because it'll guide you.
And you do that same practice with clairaudience too, because I also have clairaudience.
Do it with everything.
So
Doesn't matter what
do you
it
do
is.
that same thing? Okay. Okay.
If I'm like, if I'm wondering, like, because I have a lot of knowing, I have a lot of the knowing circuit. I have a lot of knowing, but just because I know something doesn't mean I should act on it.
Yeah.
It doesn't even mean it's the right time. Because sometimes I'll get things and I'll be like, is this something I should act on? Oh, is it the right time? Is it something I should write down? Something to remember? But not the right time. So this is where you start getting into the art of the sacral questions too. But whenever you feel confused about something you're getting some other way, ask your sacral, is this something I should pay attention to? Like, okay. Because you can also be getting just random images that come in from the collective unconscious, and it might not be for you at all. And it might not even be beneficial for you.
Okay.
I mean, there are thoughts that come into my mind and I'll be like, no, 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 no. I'm like in my head, I'm going, no, I'm not giving any, no, leave. I'm not giving any energy to that at all. No. And I practice making it leave. I'm like, leave. No, because I know it came in. That was not a beneficial thought. No, out. You don't get to live here. So that's taking command of your energy or an aspect of it.
Thank you.